Hi, I'm Richard. I'm the photographer at What Katie Did. I'd like to talk a little bit about our Goodwood campaign and also focusing on our new Remus dress print. So at the pinnacle of vintage motorsport, on one side you have the very pretty, very well engineered Bugattis and Italian cars on one side. On the other side you had the English cars, the most famous of which was the English racing automobile. Living as a boy near Shelsley Walsh and Prescott hill climbs, I was able to see these cars racing firsthand. And really the favourite for me was always the ERA, because it was noisier and it was roughy-tufty. The ERA looked something like this. They only made a handful of them, and the most famous one is called Remus. It's chassis number R5B, and it was raced by Prince Chula of Siam in the early pre-war years and just after World War II. We do 99% of our shoots in the studio. Unfortunately, in the UK, the climate is very, very unpredictable. We love shooting outside. However, you can put all the infrastructure in place for an amazing shoot and then it pours down with rain, so it's very, very difficult. However, we really wanted to capture the essence of vintage cars in this shoot, and it's almost impossible to do in a tiny little studio like this. So we had to shoot outside. We were kind of winging it a bit. We didn't have a plan B if it had rained or anything. In fact, it did rain for a little short part of the day, but we were fine. We managed to get some really good images. So the inspiration for me with this shoot was really, I've got a huge collection of vintage magazines. This is a British magazine, Motorsport, and this is an American hot rod magazine of the time. And this is the feel that I wanted to have with our shoot for this motorsport inspired print. So for this shoot we used two cameras. I used my Nikon D850, which I use in the studio. Unusually I used a zoom lens. Normally I use a prime lens, but because we were outside and I wanted different perspectives and we had cars and buildings, and I wanted to get some close-ups, we used a zoom lens, which worked very well in this case. Also for the close-ups and behind the scenes, I used this little Fuji X100-6, which is a fixed lens camera, 23mm lens, and you could get some very good JPEGs straight out of the camera, and it's very good for doing little behind the scenes shots. I hope you enjoy these images as much as we did shooting them with Casey, and I look forward to seeing you hopefully at Goodwood. I hope you enjoy these images as much as we did shooting them with Kate.